Hi everyone, it's Katie. I wanted to do a video about all the different ways we have organized our school year and also the different schedules that I have used. If you don't already know, my son goes to the K12 Virtual Public School here in our state. He has been going there since his first grade year, and we have just completed our third grade year. So I'd like to go through each year and kind of discuss what we did, what I learned, what worked for us and what didn't. And so I'll start with first grade. So our first grade year, we actually got to start about a week early prior to the school start date. And that's because we typically receive all our materials about 2 weeks prior to the start date. So we did that. He didn't really have a lot of class connects or live lessons with his teacher that year. The school had just became a virtual public school in the state. The school had actually been around for a while, but it was not recognized as a public school at the time. And so that was the first year that it had been recognized. So one of the things we did, so we used binders. What I mean by binders is I would take a 3-ring binder, and I had one for every subject. And let's just say I never really used them. It was supposed to be for all his completed worksheets and whatnot, but I never really used them. And I had a whole shelf full of binders and folders and stuff, and that didn't work for me. I also made, at the beginning, I made like copies of every worksheet. Now, what I did learn like within a couple weeks was that every worksheet is pretty much on the OLS. So if I needed a copy of it, I could just download it and print it. And the reason I made copies was because my son would get really upset if he made a mistake, and it was just a disaster. So we did, all copies of worksheets during his kindergarten year, which we did a traditional homeschool workbook style. And so I stopped doing that after a couple weeks when I learned it. We basically followed the traditional schedule that was provided to us, and that basically means that we did one lesson for each subject every day, except for history we did 3 times a week, science we did twice a week, and then music twice a week and art twice a week. But soon I realized my son was just, we were bouncing all over the place. He wasn't, very happy about it. And also he's not really flexible on changes, or at least at that time he was not, mostly because he is autistic and he has ADHD. So, most kids don't like to change what they're doing or moving in and out of that. So I realized it wasn't working, and I had heard a lot of people talking about a block schedule. Now, the block schedule means different things to different people. When I was in high school, I had a block schedule, so that meant I had 4 classes for that whole semester, and then I would switch to 4 other classes for the second semester. I didn't do that with my son, obviously, because he's got to, do certain things with his class, and basically I did, sorry about that, there's people shooting off fireworks, if you happen to hear that. Basically, I would have him do, like on Monday, I'd said, let's try to get as much math we can get done that day. My goal was to at least get 3 lessons done in math, and then I'd worry about the other 2 throughout the week. Then like on Tuesday, I would say, let's do literature and comp. Let's get as many as we can get done. The goal was to at least get 3 done that day. And then Wednesday was like phonics, get as many as I can get done. Thursday and Friday were the days that I would fill in, where he would do the rest of his math and the rest of his literature and comp and the rest of his phonics. Now, every day I would actually have him work on his spelling words. I'd have him do his vocabulary, which was online, and then I also would have him do his handwriting. And K12 uses the Handwriting Without Tears program, which is wonderful. And so that's what we did. For history only needed to be done 3 times a week. So I would spread that out sometimes, or we might complete all 3 of the histories in one day. It just really depended on what was going on with him and how he was doing. Science was the same way. We only had 2 to do. Sometimes we just try to get, all the science done in one sitting. We might do his project on the weekend or on another day, not necessarily the same day corresponding to his lesson. So that was our first grade year. So after I found block scheduling, that worked out so much better for him. So when we rolled into our second grade year, We did start early again, about a week prior to the actual start date. I followed my block schedule. Now, some people were talking about their block schedule being different. They would basically they picked math for the day, right? So that's all they did. The whole day was math. And then, so forth. They would do literature and comp all day, phonics all day. I know my son personally would not be able to sit through a whole day of one subject. Yes, he did not like to bounce around so often, doing like 5 subjects in a day, but doing one all day, I don't think so. So in 2nd grade year, I don't remember doing any organization with any of his stuff. I don't think I ever used the binders. I think they just sat there on the shelf. I didn't touch them again. I don't even remember if I planned anything for organization. And for his 3rd grade year, when we went to orientation, they were discussing a lot of things about pacing and that they didn't want the kids to start early. They didn't want the kids to get ahead. They just wanted the kids to pace, be right on schedule. As well as during his 3rd grade year, he had special education classes. And that took up some of his time as well. So we really couldn't do a block schedule this past year. I kind of missed it. And I hope I could figure out something for this year to actually make it work. And also we didn't start early. We actually just started on time. And I had wished that we could start on time. I think this year we will. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. But other than that, our year went really good for 3rd grade. We did get a little bit behind, but in the end he did complete up to 80% of his courses, so that was really good. Now moving on to this year. Now this year is going to be a whole new element of things. I'm adding a kindergartner to this, and so we'll have a kindergartner and a 4th grader at this time. And this year I decided I really need to be really organized and have more of a schedule for the kids. So I actually created my binder, my little planner binder, which you've already seen. I did just change the cover, make it something a little bit more prettier. And the only other things I changed in this binder were I added a login password page, and I actually already did our schedule. But I only did a schedule for the week prior to starting the school year, because I decided that we will start early, even if it's just offline work, and kind of get the feel of things and, how my kindergartner's doing and how my son's doing overall. So I will quickly give you a little glance at that. And basically my point for this was to organize, my daughter's in pink, my son's in black. You might not be able to see it very well. I'm not going to be able to read it. But I filled it in. The whole point of this was they had a lot more class connect sessions. And by that, he had 2 math sessions a week, 2 ELA lessons per week, and he had 1 history and 1 science each week. So what was great about that is they were actually teaching the material from the lessons. So that kind of freed you up for the week for, a couple lessons here and there. But I also wanted to do our block schedule again, and that became really difficult. I really couldn't do that. One, my son, besides the class connects he had, see how they did and kind of get a little jump start on things so that when the first week actually happens, it won't be so bad. I also added a pocket folder in the back, and that's basically just to keep my kids' Scantron testing, which they do twice a year in, as well as our progress reports and report cards. And I might keep some of my son's IEP evaluations and his updates each semester. But that's it for the virtual planner. I also plan on doing a crate system this year. And what that means is, you've probably seen other people on YouTube do it. Basically, I have the milk crate with file folders and manila folders inside each one for each of my kids. So it's going to be done weekly. And I'm going to tear apart those workbooks this year. Really get into them and, really go through these worksheets, get organized, everything like that. And basically, it's just a simple crate system. And next, I'm actually going to be doing a binder this year of some sort. I've actually created binders for my kids for their history, their science, their language arts, and art as well. And I don't have the art binders done yet, but I'll go ahead and show you my kids' binders. So we'll start with my son's. He picked Minion, so I just have like a language arts binder for him. Little thing. It's got some dividers in it already. Let's see what I'm going to do with these. And he has a history one. And a science one. I'll actually leave a link on where I got these covers from. They're really cute. And my daughter, this is her science one. It is flamingos. She liked to pick out some pretty covers for hers. I already have dividers in here. She has 8 units, so there's already 8 dividers in there. I like to recycle everything, so all the binders are recycled. All the dividers are as well. She has a language arts one. And she has her history one so far. It's really cute. And then my preschooler, who's hopefully going to be into a actual preschool this year, really wanted a binder too, so she picked one as well. Now, one other thing I did this year was I created a health kind of program for my kids. My son's first grade year actually had somewhat of a curriculum for health, but it wasn't, I don't know, it was kind of simple and basically just told you what to talk about that week, which was nice, but at the same time, it really wasn't fulfilling like a real curriculum. So second and third grade, we just kind of used our health as like discussing different topics on like, when we went to the dentist, we would talk about, how to brush your teeth and floss. When we went to the doctor, we would talk about health issues for that. We would talk about hygiene and eating healthy, exercising and stuff like that. So this year, I really wanted to be a little bit more, focused this year and actually do something that would really give a really good health curriculum. So I made each of my kids a little binder, minions and flowers. I'll go ahead and show you my daughter's. Hers is slightly different just because some of the papers are more age related. So I went ahead and I created the first month of health curriculum for them. And I'll post all the links for this at the bottom as well for where I found everything. So the first week we're going to talk about germs. It's just a little piece of paper just talking about germs, showing what they look like, where you can find them. Ooh, let me try this. She has a little question page. My son has one too, but it's a little bit more in depth than this one. And I can always read this to her. And so I'll hold it this way. She has a coloring page of germs. My son has one too, but his is different. More geared toward his age. And that would be like week 1. Week 2, I found this really cute curriculum for hand washing. So this is a page for my daughter to color, and it says, I pledge to wash my hands, and she can color it. And then it has a little description paper on the back talking about hand washing lesson plan for kindergartner. Now my son has the 4th grade one. His picture's a little different, but it's basically the same concept. I mean, how much different can hand washing be? So then I have some more coloring pages just for fun, like tissues and like hand sanitizer. Also about covering when you're sneezing. And another one about sneezing, covering if you don't have a tissue. Then the 3rd week, I plan on doing a little experiment with them. I have found agar plates on Amazon, and I plan on doing a little experiment where Each of them will get to do this. They'll each have a control for an agar plate. And then they will also have one where they touch it with their dirty hands. And then I'll have them wash their hands with water and they'll touch another agar plate. And then I'll also have them go wash with soap and water really good and have them touch the last agar plate. I have them document it the first day, and then about halfway through the week I'll have them look at it and kind of jot down what they see or draw what they see. And then the following week, for the fourth week, I plan on having them look at it again, and we'll just kind of look at what kind of bacteria and things pop up, and we'll have a little discussion about hand washing again and germs. So that's our health curriculum. Also this year, well, last year I did this little planner for my son near the end of the year. Basically, it was like a daily guidebook for him or weekly guide for him so he could become more independent. He didn't really utilize it but I took it away about 2 weeks. I did it for 2 weeks and then I took it away because he wasn't really using it, at least the way I had wanted him to. And so he asked me, "Where's my daily planner, Mom?" I'm like, "Okay, I thought you didn't like it." But we're going to utilize it again this year. It's a little different. Set up about the same. I just changed the notebook. His old one actually had a cover just like this. Same one on top. It was basically color and number coded for subjects. This year subjects changed slightly, but not much. Then I have this really cool binder folder, and it's like Velcro. It's really cool. I love it. If I find more, I'm going to get more. But, check this out. Sorry for the noise. I have this thing by IDEO, and it's basically a little pictorial schedule thing, especially for kids that are not verbal or just giving a kid a schedule. It had these cute little door hangers. I haven't really used it for my son the way I had wanted to, and I just had an idea. I was like, I like to recycle and kind of reuse things as I can, and I decided I could use it for his daily schedule. So up here, he can brush his teeth, eat a cereal, put his glasses on and go to school. And as you move through, you can check his schedule. And then, move through, he can follow through and actually complete what the schedule said. And it even has it on the back. They're just little magnetic tiles. And it was really cool. So he would use that, and I had to change it out every night to make sure it fit the schedule for the day. And in the binder, I have these really nice dividers. So it's almost like a workbox system, but in a binder. So he would, basically, I put any material he needed for the whole week in here for this first one was actually spelling. So it had a, spiral notebook for his spelling words. It sometimes had a list of his spelling words or index cards. It also had a whole list in the front that discussed each day. So it'd say, Monday, do a pre-test for whatever unit. Tuesday, practice your words. Thursday, or, whatever. It followed through the whole week. And when he was done with the little picto tiles, he would actually place the one that went with it here. That way I knew that he was done for the day. But I have them for each of his subjects. And all it is just magnetic strips that I placed here. But he would like to use this again. He expressed interest in using it again. So I don't know how it will go or if he will actually utilize it the way I have it set up. If it changes throughout the year, I can always do another video on it to show you. But other than that, that's how our year is going. And stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.